I don't know. Anyways, these are the news stories that I thought was sort of kind of interesting for this peaceful world we currently live in. Yeah, that's getting harder to say. Anyways, on to the first story. If I can figure out, wait, how does this work? Wait, oh crap. I'm testing out something new today. So let's see if this works. I don't think it does. Hold on. That's okay, that is definitely not. I have no idea if that actually came through. Everything should be enabled. But it's not. Okay, why is that not working? Oh, I'm here messing with the wrong one. Okay, I'm just gonna not do that today, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Don't want to waste too much time on it. I'll just have to research that later. Anyways, these are the news stories that I found interesting. Is that too loud? I don't know if that's too loud. That looks too loud to me. Anyways, the first story is smart glasses add extortion to their harassment playbook. This is another fine example of whenever you're in public, please act accordingly. I don't know about you, but every time I'm in public, I know 150% to be on my best behavior. Leave your freak at home, basically. Reports of a man who approached a woman in public while wearing Ray-Ban Meta. Why the heck does Ray-Ban have these glasses? You'd think that they're like popular enough where they don't have to do gimmicks like this, but I don't know. AI glasses and other smart devices, their posts, convenient recording to get paid. Wait. They get paid? Oh wait, or is this the extortion, the part that you get paid for, I guess. I don't know. Her video was viewed 40. Well, what the heck did she do in public to get a view of 40,000 times? Either she was dressed provocatively, she said something, or did something. Then again, I don't know. I have no idea what this video is in question. I don't even care to look it up because the poor woman got extorted. I say poor not knowing any of the facts. Said they would remove it as a paid service, bringing back the old strategy that news is worst. Anyways, like I say, if you're in public, be on your best behavior. I don't know though. I don't think it really does. I don't know. Like, what is this world coming to where you're recorded no matter what? To be honest with you, to be completely honest with you, if I don't know, I ain't really got anything snappy to say about this. Wish I did, other than like just be on your best behavior in public. I can't really say more than that. I don't really know what else to say more than that. Just be aware that this is happening. Anyways, on to the next news story. All right, in more tech news today, Google's much improved app icons are rolling out now. Now, personally, I use Google for a few things because it's just sort of kind of convenient in a way, you know? God, there's a lot of ads. I like to have the unfiltered internet as the plebs have it, you know? But like, does anyone really care? I guess like Google is really used more or less for like business stuff, I think. Like companies use it, I would think. I don't know. But do people really care that like they're improving the way their apps look? Like anytime Apple or Google or any of these companies improve the way their apps look, I either don't like it or don't care. Like Apple did this new thing where they like did a glass texture thing for like for their apps and like the background and everything, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I looked at it and thought it was ugly as hell. I wanted it to go back. You know, like why the heck can't I have a nice like candy coating red, blue, like something that just pops at me, you know what I mean? Instead, they got to make everything look sort of kind of futuristic and everything. Oh, about 5 years ago, Google redesigned the icons to most of the app services, including blah, 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 nothing really of whatever of content there, really and truly. Like, they always have to make it updated to make it more futuristic and everything else. And I'm just sitting here thinking, does anyone really care what the apps look like as long as you can sort of kind of tell them apart? And even if you can't sort of kind of tell them apart, like, if you use them every day, you're not going to care what they look like. I don't think anybody is going to choose to use Google over Apple or anything else just because of the way like their apps look. This just feels like somebody needed to do a job, so they just gave them this. And I guarantee you they put hundreds of millions of dollars into finding out what looks the best, like crowd doing everything just to figure out that, oh, whatever. And people, once you change something, people aren't going to like it. People don't like change. Hell, I don't like change. It's the main reason why I didn't like the Apple thing that I was just talking about whenever they changed their apps. I don't know. New Coke. Anyways, on to the next story. Hey. This is another sort of kind of tech related story today. Sony hit with class action lawsuit for allegedly profiting from tariff related price hikes. Now, I 100% don't like that prices got raised for the tariffs and it was pretty much a nothing burger. But at the same time, you got to understand from a company's perspective, they have absolutely no idea how long those tariffs were going to last. They really did not have an idea for how long those tariffs were going to last or how bad they were going to be, and everything. And I really feel like people want to jump the gun and hit Sony for like raising their prices because of tariffs, but really and truly, like, this current administration like is kind of whiplashy when it comes to policy. So like it, hate it, whatever you want to say, you got to be honest with yourself. Things change every day. Like under any other presidential administration, any other like time in the last like 30 years, it's really been sort of kind of steady state and everything. Like no other president has really just wanted to make history as much as this current one. And if you consider that a good thing, good for you. If you consider that a bad thing, good for you. But like it or not, we're living in different times. So with that in mind, I'm wondering, has the prices come down since the tariff thing? Because if they have, then I can kind of give Sony the benefit of the doubt. Me saying that, I really like this right here is literally making me defend a company that I don't want to have to defend. I consider Sony what's really bad about the anime industry nowadays. And I just, I don't want to have to defend Sony, but at the same time, I can kind of see why they raised their prices. Now, that being said, once a company has money, they don't want to give it up. So I don't see you getting any money back if you paid in extra because of the tariffs. Like, it's really because you were just like willing to pay that price at the time, you know. Anyways, gamers have filed a class action lawsuit against Sony, claiming the company received a substantial windfall as a result of the price hikes following the Trump administration tariffs policy. The lawsuit was filed in California, of course, this is where all those things are filed, earlier this month, and is seeking refunds for anyone who bought PlayStation consoles during the tariff period. That would lead to an elevated price tag. Now, I have no idea how much more a PlayStation was during the tariffs. I don't really care about PlayStation, really and truly. That being said, if it's like less than $50, I seriously doubt the consumers themselves necessarily care. It's probably some law firm that's trying to make millions of dollars off of filing this on behalf of consumers, if I'm being completely honest with you. It might even be a small law firm trying to make a name for themselves, me not knowing anything about the case at all, or even caring honestly about the case at all. But I will say this, if the tariffs would have gotten really bad, Sony would have lost money. Since the tariffs was a nothing burger, Sony made money. They made a business decision at the time that most people don't like, but I can personally see how it was somewhat necessary given the circumstances. And now that we're at the other end of it, hindsight is 2020. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to defend Sony, but at the same time, business be businessing, man. Anyways, on to the next story. Alright, this is something that I personally like to see, and I think that more people should honestly do these sorts of things. But you should also approach this with extreme caution. And that is, users turn to jailbreaking their older Kindles as Amazon ends their support. Now, I know Amazon just ended their support for Kindles that are like really old and everything. And I remember back whenever Kindles were like almost indestructible, man. All they was just a screen that displayed words. That's it. These things lasted forever. And obviously they're ending support for the Kindle 1 generation, Kindle 2 generation, Kindle XD, and all these other Kindles. This is the whole list right here. Kindle Fire HD, blah, 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 blah. If Kindle Generation 1, if you still got one of these things, like, you got your money's worth out of the device, you know? All I can tell you to do is just to download everything, and just work it till it breaks, basically. I hate to be like that, but, you know, it's just one of them things, honestly. Now, people are jailbreaking them and probably using them for all sorts of stuff. Now, this jailbreaking stuff ain't new. I guarantee you could have jailbroke your Kindle like 5-6 years ago. However, I guarantee you within 6 months of like a new device coming out, a lot of the times you can find some form of jailbreaking for it. Now, jailbreaking is extremely risky in my opinion because you don't know what's in the code. Unless you are a hacker person, you really don't know. So I wouldn't put any sort of personal information, and I really would probably go down to like the local coffee store or McDonald's to like connect to the internet, because you know, you really don't know what's in the code. But that's just me being a paranoid little thing here. Now, if it's ending support and you don't have a lot of books and you just want to have a nice toy to play around with, maybe something to look into. I don't know, personally. But I do love to see people repurposing technology in fun and creative ways. I personally do it myself. Every computer that I bought, I still own and I still use on occasion. Now, I use them for all sorts of weird stuff from time to time. We're running stuff and just doing all sorts of stuff. And it's fun to play around with stuff, especially whenever it's something that's like 6 or 7 years old and it no longer gets support and it's just old and can't do much. So you're just like, well, I'm going to see if it'll do this or that or the other, you know? Okay, so whenever they remove support, you can only be able to read content you've already downloaded. Now, if you got like 100 or plus books, you know, and you got a Kindle One or a Fire One, like I said, you know, it's just the way it goes. Every company eventually ends support. You can't ask a company to like run support on devices forever, because at a certain point in time, I guarantee you they haven't made Kindle Ones for probably years at this point. So, and if they're getting updates, they know how many Kindle Ones is out there. They know that, like, if at one point in time there was like 3 million and now there's like 50,000 of them, yeah, I don't know. Like, you can't expect them to do support forever, is all I'm saying. So just get your money's worth out of it and use it for something fun, you know, if you ain't got many books and stuff. I definitely wouldn't buy a ton of books right now, though, and download them and be like, haha. Like, you might as well buy another Kindle at that point, you know, because you're going to buy a lot of books you don't like if you just run out and buy a ton of books. Anyways, on to the next one. All right. This is our next story. Steam adds, edits, and removes dozens of store tags. Now, store tags are very important. To me, they're very important, at least, because it's hard to find stuff sometimes, and sometimes you don't know the name of a game, but you know the content of a game. So if it's like an RPG or some sort of fantasy game or something like that, you could probably hunt the game down, given some time at least, if you just follow the tags. So whenever they add tags, I'm very happy, because it probably means things are easier to find. When they remove tags, it means things are probably going to be harder to find. So I'm wondering, just guessing without even reading the story, if they remove tags because maybe it was a trademark thing or a lawyer speak. Because a company doesn't want to remove tags unless they have to. But that's just my personal opinion, you know, because every time, like I say, every time you remove tags, it makes stuff harder to find. But I don't know, though. Steam has changed the official tags you could find attached to the games on the Valve's digital storefront, removing 28 and adding 17. So they removed 28 and they only added 17. That tells me that, yeah, they probably had lawyers come in and say, yeah, you can't have these tags for this reason. I don't know, though. I personally don't know. Because Valve has had a lot of legal trouble, so anytime they're changing tags like this, I'm just thinking, yeah, they're probably preemptively like covering their butts. Because Valve's had it hard here recently, you know? But they added 17, so yeah, I don't know. They probably clarified a lot of stuff with these 17 tags too. A handful of other tags said the changes come with the goal of helping players identify games that best fit their interests and helping Steam generate more appropriate recommendations. Yeah, like, if you do clarify the tags, it does help people like track down stuff like open world games, you know, different stuff like that. tags help developers better describe their game, blah, 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 blah. This is all stuff we know. Let's find, okay. The Steam tags added. Okay, Bullet Heaven, which, you know, the opposite of Bullet Hell. Wait, what the heck is Bullet Hell? Like, this is a tag I don't even know. Okay, so Bullet Hell, you focus on upgrades because you have a lot of, okay, I did not know that. So wait, what does Bullet Heaven mean? I guess you don't have to, like why would you even want to play a Bullet Heaven game? Because like, wouldn't it just be too easy? Like, wait a minute. Like, wouldn't it just be too easy though? At the end of that case? Okay. Desktop companion. Yeah, I actually see more and more of these desktop companion things going nowadays. That only use part of the screen to keep you company while you do other. Like, I like the idea of having a desktop companion. I really do. I've actually been tempted to download and buy a few in the past, but then I'm thinking like, how much of like my screen is being monitored by these companies that have these desktop companions? I saw one of them was for free, and I was just thinking, I would really love to have that little thing in the side of my screen, and I could pet it, you know, on occasion. It's just something to lighten my day up. You know, I could turn it off or on, but I'm thinking if I'm doing some sort of work or something like that while that little companion's on the side of my screen, like, how, like, is my data protected basically? I don't know, but like, these are the things that keep me up at night. And the only reason I don't have a desktop companion, I'm like this close to getting a mini PC and putting a card on and then connecting like a cheap $20 webcam to it and then like talking to it, because the webcam has a little microphone and I'll put a little speaker on it and I'll have like a desktop thing and I'll teach it to like say bad words and stuff. Yeah. I'll definitely teach it to say bad words. Ugh. In virtuals. Wait, who plays organizing games? Wait, is that storefront like bodega thing? Is that considered an organizing game now that I think about it? Like, if I was gonna play a cleaning game, like, wouldn't I just clean my own house? Decorating. What? Wait, what? You know what? That's the thing. Like, organizing and decorating is basically the same thing. I mean, decorating is just like organizing stuff you just bought, basically. Am I wrong? What the heck is this tag? I don't even know how to pronounce that. Wuxika Wazanga? Wuxia? Is that how you say it? Wuxia? Historical fantasy adventure featuring martial arts. You know what? I'm going to go see if this tag actually exists. Not only that does this tag exist, but this tag exists right here. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never, like, why would they add? Do I got to speak Chinese in order to, like, play games nowadays? Is this only for Chinese audiences? But this article's in English. What? We truly live in a globalized society. Anyways, they also got arranging, rotating, placing blocks. Okay, it's like, okay, this could technically just be considered an organizing game, but you know, whatever. Espionage, yeah. I'm actually surprised they didn't have espionage before, and samurai. Then again, espionage, I would think, could easily fill this, honestly. But samurai, probably in the last 5 years, especially 5 years, samurai games have probably exploded. Because I can think of like 2 AAA titles in the last, like, I think 4 years that have come out. So, yeah, they, like, there probably wasn't enough to fill up a whole tab of samurai games on Steam until now. That's the only reason, you know, it wasn't there. Hey. Zoo. Like, okay. Wolves, capybara. There is enough games to fill up a wolf, capybara. Like, how many capybara games are there? I get it, people love capybara. Like, everybody loves, like, nature's greatest idiot. But, like, is there seriously enough capybara? I'm going to look on Steam to see if there's a capybara, like, tab. I have to. Like, how many capybara games is out there? Like, everybody loves, like, nature's greatest idiot, I guess. I consider capybaras are, like, have worse survival instincts than a sloth. That's why they literally ride on the backs of crocodiles and alligators. Whatever, though. Like, that blows me away that there's enough capybara games to have a tab for it in Steam. What do they, like, Steam tags remove from Valve? 3D version. I guess 3D was, like, big for a minute there. But, like, I think it is a very niche thing. Is it like trademarked maybe or something? 3D version? That's the only reason I could think of them removing it. I don't know. Nobody really makes featured film games anymore. That was a big thing for, especially around the PS2, early PS3 days. They would make feature film games. There's a Shrek game and all sorts of stuff, really. Foreign, I guess I don't know. A lot of people aren't making games anymore. Like, it actually, like, maybe I'm just not exposed to the people who are, I don't know. Game Workshop, wait, why did they get rid of the, it's a conspiracy, I'm telling you. It's definitely a conspiracy. Masterpiece is very, you know, like, come on. Lego, that's definitely getting ahead of something right there because it's trademark name and everything. I would think they would need this tag, personally. Like, I don't know. Like, I would think they would need this tag. The mature tag, but, like, I don't know. They got, wait, so they had movies and feature film? Okay, well, that's, okay, whatever. Narration, you would, I don't know. RGB, Warhammer. They had a whole tab. There's a lot of Warhammer games, man. They probably had to take that off too. Anyways, yeah, that's basically what I thought of. What is this? Rogue Vigilanta? I don't know. Somebody's probably screaming at me right now, being like, "You pronounce it like this." I don't know, man. I don't play enough games, I guess. Anyways, I thought this was interesting. All right, on to the next one. Hey. All right. Now we're getting into the more serious news story. So I don't really have much to say about this, but like, I really thought that this was a funny headline, so I figured I'd bring it up today. Influencer lawyer and a surfing coach charged with plot to kill LA boy band member. Now, I don't care how old you are. I don't care where you are. This headline's kind of funny to me, honestly. An influencer lawyer, a surf coach, and an LA boy band member. I ain't read this story, but I thought it was funny. Oh man. Anyways. 3 people face allegations from LA County prosecutors that have conspired to kill a former boy band member. Now I gotta know, what is the boy band? Who is the member? And like, What is a surf coach? Well, I guess LA is big on surfing, so anyways. Wait, it's a Miami lawyer? What is a Miami lawyer doing in LA? Okay, 30 people face allegations of conspired to kill a former boy band member. Accused are a Miami lawyer, his influencer daughter, okay, and a Hawaiian surf instructor. Okay? Like, this all took place in LA. So, how did this influencer daughter get, I'm guessing, the Miami lawyer, which is probably her father because the lawyer's probably the oldest, and a Hawaiian surf instructor? Did she just recently have a vacation to Hawaii? The trio hatched a plot to hire a hitman through the dark web, but were foiled by the FBI court records show. Like, I don't know. I would never hire a hitman through the internet. That's just something you got to do in person. You know, go to like a really sketchy bar with a bunch of gangsters in it, or like, that's not advice. Don't ever do that in 1,000 years. Don't do that. You're gonna get caught. You're gonna go to jail. Like, just leave the person alone. Just put a wall between you and them. A high-powered Miami lawyer, his influencer daughter. Oh, I was correct. To be a lawyer, you got to be in, you know, you got to be around for a little while. I guess the father like loves his daughter a lot. I don't know. Hawaiian surf instructor had been accused of attempting to hire a hitman to kill a Los Angeles singer who was a member of the 2010's boy band, according to the criminal complaint made public Tuesday afternoon. Okay, what is the boy band? Has it not just are they trying to keep it private? Blah blah. They conspiring to commit murder and blah blah blah. Okay, so this is the guy. I have no idea who that was. The bass boy band. Why don't we? Okay, like, I guess they wasn't very successful as a boy band. That's the only thing I wanted to know, is what was the name of the boy band and who was the you know. Well, let's see. Blah blah. Charge Tuesday, expired, blah blah. Okay, so this was a plot to get full custody of the daughter, I'm guessing. Okay, so this is way more serious than, you know. Anyways, it was a good headline. I don't want to be a drag, though. But yeah, you could draw between the lines of how everything took place, basically. You know what? Why don't we? I might look this band up just to see how good this dude was. You know? Anyways, help this I don't know. Like, be careful who you be with is all I gotta say, because sometimes life is strange. Anyways, on to the next one. In a little bit of the same seriousness, I can get it out. This is a perfect example to me of whenever I normally buy, I buy in bulk. Now, I heard that this wasn't anything to do with the things going on right now. This is basically happening because of some distributor or something happening. Now, I don't know all the details about it, and I don't know, to be honest with you, but I normally buy a few things ahead whenever I need it, you know? And this is the main reason why, because like sometimes you just need stuff and stuff is really high or not available. Sometimes just to keep up with inflation, sometimes it's best to just bulk up on things. That's why I have a year and a half like worth of light bulbs around my house. At least I have probably enough light bulbs around my house for the next 5 years. And I don't even have a crazy amount. I just have every socket in my house has a light bulb in it. And then I have a light bulb to replace every light bulb, every socket in my house. So I could replace every light bulb in my house right now and I'd be out of light bulbs. But you know what? I'll have lights. So yeah, this isn't financial advice, but like I buy a year's worth of rice at the time. Why? Because rice is good for at least 2 years and food prices get high, man. Holy crap, food's getting high. That's not financial advice, but like, you know, if something's good for a few years, maybe, you know, stock up on it. Just saying, just saying for everybody. Anyways, I don't want to go too far into this story because, you know, it gets depressing real quick whenever you think about it. So, anyways, on to the next one. Now, to be honest with you, I never cared about this brand. I didn't care about them whenever they were in business. I've never even had a beer, a Schlitz beer. I think that's how you pronounce it, Schlitz. But it does hurt me a little bit knowing that they're gone forever. Schlitz beer discontinued after 177 years. 177 years. Now, I don't know if that's 177 years of continuing use, and it could come back. Like, nothing's ever like written in stone. It could 100% come back, you know? It says that they, the person who currently owns it, like bought it in 1999. So it hasn't been under the same ownership for quite some time now, but you know, it sucks that it's been going 177 years and it's gone. And like I said, it could come back, you know? So, I don't know. It could come back. But it does suck whenever you see brands going away. But at the same time, I can't be too surprised because I never had a Schlitz. I guarantee you, if you ever see this, like, you probably didn't have a Schlitz. Like, I guess I don't give a Schlitz because I don't have a Schlitz. I don't know. That's just me though, I guess. I really ain't got much to say about it. Just, you know, it hurts whenever you see something go by the wayside. And beer does have an expiration date, so about 6 months from now, that Schlitz meter is just going to tick down to 0. And I guarantee you most people aren't even going to know it. It's sad. It really is. Anyways, on to the next story. Now, this is something that I found kind of sort of interesting. And everything. Are airport food prices breaking the law? Now, there's a fine line between profiting and gouging people just because, you know, food here and you don't really like, you know, it's hard to get in and out of an airport as we currently know because of the way of the world and everything. So whenever there's a food court inside the line, you sort of grit your teeth to pay if you're hungry. Especially since, you know, everything. 5-star hotel, blah, blah, and blah, blah. From a 5-star hotel to the Atlantic. I don't think people really care about being price gouges at a 5-star hotel. If you care how much stuff costs at a 5-star hotel, you probably just need to stay at a 4-star hotel or a 3-star hotel, or just maybe the La Quinta or something, or the Best Western. In Atlanta, there's a limit set to the city law how much vendors can allow to charge you. Okay, well, okay, great. The policy is called street pricing plus 15%. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. As somebody who has run a business, 15% pricing is not profitable in some industries. Like, believe it or not, anytime you go to a restaurant, they're charging you double for the food that you're eating. Like, that's the purchase price of the food, because technically you have to put in the cost that it takes to cook it and put it on a plate and wash dishes there. But let's just say a steak is $20. You're going to have to charge the consumer $40 for that steak. Now, you have to keep your costs low in order to be profitable in the restaurant business. That's one reason why I would never open up a restaurant, just because the margins are so daggum low. Because once you like factor in the labor, which labor is your biggest thing when it comes to restaurants and stuff, but like 15%, I'll be honest with you, you need a margin of at least 25%, especially in like in inflation times, because like sometimes stuff just jumps up overnight and it's just nothing you can do to predict and everything else. Like, anybody who's never run a business, like over 25% margin, yeah, it like, you'd be surprised how big the margins are on some stuff, honestly. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of nuances and everything to it, but I don't know. 15% just seems, you know, in order to stay profitable, you're going to have like a lot of tax write-offs and do some tricky business with the books, basically, for 15% cap on your stuff. So this basically tells me that like there's probably shenanigans going on with everything in Atlanta because this 15% thing here. And it's normally, I will be honest with you, most business people, I know business people get a bad rap. These are CEOs. These are like bankers. Most of these people are some of the most honest people I have ever met, especially bankers, even though I know a lot of people really like to hear that, like, oh, they're the scum of the earth. Business people in general are some of the most honest, like hardworking people I've met. But the government is normally what makes a business person dishonest. The government really makes a business person dishonest. Whenever you set draconian tax laws and price caps and all of this stuff, it forces business owners to do like either gray area stuff, or if they're desperate, like straight up just evasion, in order to like stay above water, especially in the restaurant industry and et cetera. Because the government, whenever it does more regulations on an industry, etc., it just takes more and more profit off the table, to the point where, why would I work 16 plus hours a week in a restaurant making, like, if you're a restaurant owner making literally, like, let's just say $5,000 a month, you could just work a full-time job and make around $2,000 to $5,000 a month, especially if you're a tradesman and you don't have to like pay employees, pay taxes, etc. And then if the IRS come down on you because you didn't file something correctly, and you're barely keeping your head above water and you barely have any savings, of course you're just going to be like, well, if I'm going to mess up a little bit and be punished, I might as well just like go full bore on it and just like shotgun it. You know, the government really makes like business people dishonest, and no other reason than that. And business people get defensive on the public whenever they're being dishonest, because they were kind of sort of pushed into it by the government. So they're getting pushed by the public and by the government, and they're between a rock and a hard place, like, and they really are just sitting there like, well, do you want my service or do you want my good? And if the public's like, yes, we have to have your good or service, then the business owner's like, well, then what do you want me to do? Like, a farmer's gonna farm, a restaurant owner, a grocery store owner is gonna own, and like at the end of the day, like everybody's just trying to like send their kid to college, basically. Like the guy working 5 jobs wants to send their kid to community college or an Ivy League school. And it's the same thing for the restaurant owner, the gym owner, the grocery store owner. Everybody just wants a better life for the kid or a better life for themselves. You know, everybody wants a Ferrari. Everybody. You know, and it's just, I don't know. I just get tired of it all, honestly. Everybody's like, oh, you're not allowed to like do this because like we made up this rule. And I'm just like, I guess. And I just walk away and don't even play the game. And there's been periods and times in my life where like I was just like, yeah, it's just not profitable to play this game with this person. So I just walked away, just left everything there. And they're like, they get plumb mad if you just walk away. Honestly. They get mad if you walk away. They get mad if you don't play the game. And you just like, I'm cutting my losses, man. Sometimes that's just what you got to do. Not business advice, not legal advice. But sometimes you just got to be like, it ain't worth it anymore, man. And just cut your losses. Anyways, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on the matter. Don't. This is all satire. Anyways, on to the next story. Now, I saw this story and it genuinely shocked me a little bit because I don't think of this place in this way. And that is, Chicago is the 2nd worst city for mosquitoes. How bad will this summer be? Now, I don't really care about mosquitoes in Chicago and everything because like, I don't know. I don't live in Chicago. You know, I really don't live in Chicago. I don't know, man. But Chicago, though, I would think Miami, Florida would be like the worst or the 2nd worst. I would think this whole list of like the worst cities for mosquitoes should be like all in Florida. Or maybe like Louisiana or something. Because like Chicago, I know, is sitting next to the Great Lakes. But like, what the heck is causing so many mosquitoes in Chicago? They have like a hardcore winter in Chicago. That like wipes the like slate clean and everything. I don't know though. Chicago ranked the 2nd worst city in the mosquito activity country. The past year, blah, 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 blah. Chicago is surrounded by... is 2nd to Los Angeles? I don't even think of Los Angeles. You know what? I guarantee you this is a result of poor management. I 100% believe Chicago and Los Angeles, like this should be either like Savannah, Georgia, Miami, Tampa, or some city in or New Orleans, some city like that, that's like down south, that's like well known for mosquitoes. You know, in swampy areas, like Florida's nothing but a swamp. I guarantee you this is a result of poor management. It has to be. Just like the Los Angeles fires and the California fires year over year is a result of poor management. I guarantee you this is poor management. If you live in these places, like, I just can't see Los Angeles is a very like mild weather city and everything, but like you got literally like tropical places like Miami losing to like Los Angeles and Tampa, and there's got to be like other like just either Florida is underreporting how many mosquitoes they have, or Chicago and Los Angeles is over-reporting how many mosquitoes they have, or this is just a result of poor management. It has to be. I refuse to believe it. I refuse to even like read this story. Pest control companies rank these cities based on the number of residential mosquitoes treatment. Oh, so wait, this is based on like mosquito treatments. I'm wondering if there's like some regulation in LA that basically like makes everybody get a mosquito treatment. And like it's not regulated in like other parts of the country for whatever reason. I don't know though, but like that's the only thing I could personally think that would like, you know, justify Los Angeles and everything. I don't know, man. I just carried on like, oh, this is poor management, but like, yeah, it's probably poor management in the other direction too. They're making people like buy things that are unnecessary in LA. I don't know though. Whatever. I don't in LA and Chicago, I should say, but I don't know, man. I just saw this and was like, what the hell? Anyways, I don't know. My whole worldview is trash. Anyways, this is the last story of the day. And this honestly makes me sad. Staten Island bakers brace for change in New York flour ban, threatening iconic bagels and pizza. Dude, like I remember whenever I was a young kid, my first like exposure to New York was Ninja Turtles, the live action movie. The second movie. The old school one, not the like new like one that like wasn't any good, but like the old one. You know what I mean? The old Shredder and the old that movie, and like the centerpiece of that movie was the pizza. Like the second movie literally opened up with like a pizza delivery man that knew Kung Fu. And like I was like, cool. Like if I go to New York, I could probably order a pizza and like the pizza delivery man probably knows Kung Fu. But I was a young kid at the time. And like I know that New York is famous for its bagels and pizza. Like absolutely famous for it. At least whenever I was growing up, New York was. And it just, I don't know. I keep hearing bad ales from New York recently over the past few years. And it kind of hurts, you know? Staten Island, New York. If you've ever savored a Staten Island bagel with the distinctive crew, the fold slice New York pizza, blah, blah, is 30s. Okay, so chance you've tasted the potassium bromate. Okay, well, that's a crazy chemical I did not know existed and will probably forget about in 5 minutes. So, a bill recently passed in New York State Legislature would ban bromate flour, a long-use additive that strengthens dough, improves rise, and helps create texture. Oh, well, all I can say is that it's a sad day for bagel and pizza lovers. Like, what was the point of, like, taking bromate or whatever out of the flour? Honestly. Like, does it solve anything? Yeah, if signed by the governor. So it's not a 100% thing yet. It could get vetoed by the governor, but, you know, could force bakers across the state from making bread from scratch. See, this is when I say that the government literally like forces business owners to like do crooked stuff, because unless it's like an actual health risk of having this chemical in the dough, I just don't see why. And if it really is, I don't know. I don't know, man. And these recipes have remained unchanged for decades too. Part of the idea. When tradition meets regulation. This is a tale as old as time. When tradition meets regulation. And the government basically steps in and says, we made up this new rule that you have to follow. And I'm just like, whatever, man. It's been banned in Canada and parts of Europe. Elsewhere over concerned of potential health risks. And it's where potential health risks in its... Okay, so you don't even have to worry about this being in your food because it breaks down while baking. So I guess this regulation is supposed to protect the health of the baker. Like the person making the bread. I don't think that ingredient transparency really comes into play here. Because if it really breaks down like during baking and there's no like risk to the consumer, I really don't see why they should be banning it personally. Like, let's just say that there is some sort of risk to the person actually baking the bread. Then maybe regulate like worker safety or something, you know, like add it into like, oh, bakers that use this type of flour have to have these safety measures, wear gloves, blah blah blah, and everything. Because like obviously at the end of the day this doesn't like help the consumer at all. I don't know. I feel like this is a whiplash thing that they did in order to like just say that they're doing something. I don't know. And now it's basically saying the law, blah, blah. It's basically comparing this to like other things that have been banned. But if it shows up in the final product, like this red dye number 3, I could see your point for banning it. But it gets baked out during the baking process. And everything. So, I don't know. The whole thing just seems like, I don't know. Anyways, they were making bread before the thing. They were going to make bread after. Yeah, this is just the world we live in, I guess. Everything keeps moving somewhere. And everybody knows, and nobody knows where we are. Anyways, this was today. Tomorrow will come. Everybody,